Guys, welcome back to 100% Mag. So hope you're all staying safe and well out there. Newcastle United took on Crystal Palace last night in the Carabao Cup at St James's Park, of course, in the third round tie. And of course, it's seen the game go to penalties as there was no extra time, as is the case with the Carabao Cup. Newcastle, of course, was challenging all the way throughout the game. And Palace, looked pretty lacklustre, I thought. They went for sort of a mix between first team players and young players, whilst Newcastle went for a slightly less first team side. But we did have the likes of Chris Wood in there. We still had first teamers in there. There was just a little bit of youngsters in there like Ellie Anderson and that. But we had a pretty strong side compared to what Crystal Palace put out, I've got to say. We absolutely demolished them in the game in, play-wise. Unfortunately, weren't able to get on the score sheet, but there was many chances where we could have got on the score sheet. And I'm purely going off of what I've seen on highlights here, so you'll have to bear with us on this, because I was hoping to go to the game, but unfortunately, it was complete sellout by the time, tickets did go on for general sale. So I wasn't able to go with my family to see it. Was then hoping, to be able to see it on TV. Again, it wasn't picked for TV, so we weren't able to see it that way. So like many Newcastle United fans last night that didn't attend the game, we had to listen to it on BBC Radio Newcastle with Lockwood and Ando doing the commentary, which I've got to say in 2022, it's just absolutely Stone Age, when you have to listen to the match on commentary compared to watching it. So you'll have to bear with us on what I say in this video, because purely on what I've seen of highlights. But from what I've seen of the highlights, we absolutely dominated the game, just very unlucky not to pick up the goal in the game, so it ended up going into penalties because it had to be decided on the night. So we're going to penalties, and up steps Chrissy Wood to take the first penalty for Newcastle. Of course, he calm and coolly slots it into the back of the net, past the Palace keeper to put Newcastle 1-0 up. Up steps Palace's Luka Milivojevic to see if he can get Palace on the board, and unfortunately for him, he can't. Nick Pope manages to get the save with his right foot. Fantastic save by Nick Pope, and that puts Newcastle, of course, 1 ahead in the penalty shootout. Up steps Kieran Trippier this time to take for Newcastle, and of course Kieran Trippier just absolutely goes for power and smashes it into the back of the net past the Palace keeper to put Newcastle 2-0 up in the penalty shootout. Then up steps Will Hughes for Crystal Palace, and of course he slots his ball into the back of the net to make it at least 2-1 in the penalty shootout. Palace getting 1 back into it. Then up steps Joe Linton to take for us in the game. Of course, Joe Linton powering it into the back of the net as well in a very excited celebration after getting in the back of the net as well to make it 3-1 on penalties. Up steps Joel Ward this time for Crystal Palace to slot away Crystal Palace's penalty to make it 3-2. Then up steps Sven Botman for us to make it hopefully 4-2. But Sven Botman decides to go down the middle. The keeper guesses it, and he saves the air ball, so it stays 3-2. Newcastle. Up steps Jean-Philippe Matet for Crystal Palace, and of course he, feels to get the opportunity of a lifetime to try and make it 3-3 and equal on penalties, but he can't because Nick Pope saves it with his right foot again, and of course keeps Newcastle in the lead at 3-2 on penalties. Up steps Bruno Guimaraes to try and win it for Newcastle, and Bruno, he beats the keeper, but he just, for some reason, it ends up going up and over the bar. It's not Bruno's fault at the end of the day. It is what it is. But then up steps Michael Ebawani for Crystal Palace to try and, get them back into the game. And Nick Pope saves Ebawani's shot. Crystal Palace go out of the League Cup and Newcastle are through to the next round. And I've got to say, we fully deserved it by the way we played in the game. From what I've seen of the highlights, like I say, you have to bear with us on this one because I wasn't able to see the game properly like many other Newcastle fans, who didn't attend the game, we weren't able to see it. Hopefully that's something that will be rectified in the future. Hopefully more games will be shown of the Carabao Cup, in future years to come, because it is very disappointing, in 2022 to have to rely on radio commentary of a game, when there is so many avenues that could progress down to, show people the games that don't have the ability to attend it or can't attend it because it's sold out. They could have showed the games possibly on Amazon. They could have maybe done like they did during the COVID break, where the EFL were charging, I think it was £10 to see the games, online. They could have done something like that, that's many different avenues that could progress down for this. But, all that matters is that Newcastle progressed through the cup. We're into the next round. We're going to be match ball number 12 in the draw tonight after that Manchester United versus Aston Villa game as well. And last night we did see as well 3 of the 6 being knocked out of the competition as well. Obviously we knew one of them was going to be knocked out with Manchester City and Chelsea playing each other, so one of them had to be knocked out last night. But the other 2 that was seen going out was Arsenal and Tottenham as well. They both got knocked out last night. Chelsea obviously went out because Man City beat them, so that's Man City through to the next round. Liverpool went through, luckily in my eyes, on that one from what I've seen of the Liverpool game, as my sister was watching it. But, I think they luckily got through there, Liverpool. So Liverpool and Man City through into the next round. Obviously we're through into the next round. So, if Man United get knocked out tonight, then that would be, 4 of the 6 out of the competition, which is absolutely crazy because that would really, boost the odds of, whoever's left still in the competition, like Liverpool, like Man City, like ourselves, it would boost the odds of any team that is left in the competition. And then, if that draw tonight came up with Manchester City versus Liverpool, that again is another one of the 6 that would be knocked out of the tournament, so that again would boost the odds even further. So there is a possibility, that Newcastle could come away with a League Cup at the end of this season. We're still doing absolutely amazing in the league as well. We've got the game against Chelsea coming up before the World Cup break, when we do come back off the World Cup as well, because we're through to the next round of the Carabao Cup. That does mean that we will play a Carabao Cup game just after the World Cup final and before the game against Leicester City. So that is another game to look forward to for us lads and lasses supporting Newcastle United. That's going to be amazing. But let us know your thoughts down in the comments below. As always,